I'm still sitting here producing videos. Seems like this is what I do nearly every single day. And I'm doing my best to study and grow and develop and figure out what I want to do on this channel. And one of the concepts I had for Monday was going to be more of an educational video where we watch someone else's video and we reflect back on that. I think I'm saving that for tomorrow. What I want to talk about today is something that has been on my mind and is a constant, I suppose, struggle and in some ways frustration. And it is just how weird and claustrophobic and lonely doing something on your own can be. It's one of the things that I'm really hoping that this channel grows into. One of the things that I am looking forward to the most, because the other projects that I've worked on, I have found and connected with and built relationships with individuals who are like me in some ways, who are entrepreneurial, who don't care about the day-to-day, the work-life routine, the, wake up at 5 so you can get to work by 8, so you can get home by 5, so you can sit down on the couch and watch 7 hours of TV before you pass out and do it over again. I'm so frustrated, so anti that more often than not, I find my own experience, my own existence, to both be the best that I've ever had, the best that it could ever be, while also being shockingly alone in the process. I mean, you'd think you'd be able to find people who are excited and willing to step out and put everything on the line in order to pursue something. But over the course of my 8 or 9 years, that has been few and far between, and even the individuals that I have found who would have the personality type to do so are oftentimes in situations that prevent them from ever being able to take that step. They're in relationships, or they're married, they have children, they currently have a job that is paying their car bill, and they have student debt that needs to be paid down over the next 10 years in order for them to start. And I get that. I get the excuses. I have had piles of them myself. I have not hiked the Appalachian Trail yet because of years of excuses. I have had debt to pay down myself. I have relationships that have taken me off track from time to time, but now being in a position where all I want to do is pursue something. And all I desperately want on that path is a community of people who are able and willing and invested in not taking my risk, but doing something on their own. It always surprises me how few of those individuals you find along the way. I have some. I have some who I rely on and trust in, and who, to some degree or another, depending on their own situation, are willing to step out and take risks and pursue something. But the amount of people who I have encountered and invested in and asked, what do you want? What do you really want? What is the pursuit? What is the demand? What is the drive? What does the next 5 years of your life look like? What are you going to do when you're 50? Is it this? Is it the manufacturing job? Is it the job where you're in the office every single day of the week? Is it the job that is currently making you miserable? The amount of times I have both received responses saying, no, I don't want that. I want something better. I want to be happier. I want to work for myself. I want to be entrepreneurial. I want to pursue, drive. I have this idea. I could do it. I know I could. The amount of times I've had those two statements followed up with a but, with an excuse, with a concept of some sort of timeline that never gets them there. This is lonely. It's the thing that bothers me the most. I like being with people. I like being with people who are pursuing something, who are driving forward, and I have some of them. But I'm hoping here, through doing this, I'll be able to find more. Really, just a pile would be pretty exciting. To share and bounce ideas, to have motivations and drives, people who are willing to say yes, and who challenge what you're already doing, encourage you to pursue something greater, and who, when you have some crazy, dumb idea, trust that it can work, or are okay with the idea that it won't. A lot of things will fail along the way. It's the individual that will succeed, and I have found it incredibly hard to find those individuals. Maybe we're all too bottled up, all too worried and working and spending way too much time inside. Maybe we don't socialize. Maybe we're not good at connecting. Maybe we are so full of excuses and drive and our own side of things that we don't spend the time finding the community that we need to surround ourselves to succeed. Maybe all of those things are true, and maybe they're evidently true with me too, because I talk about the analogy of handing people ropes, of carrying something up a hill and looking at someone and going, I'm going to leave you behind unless you pull, unless you want to come along, unless you want to do it. The worst feeling that I've experienced multiple times now is handing someone that rope and then not helping them pull. Letting them decide how hard and how fast and how much drive they want to deploy. And time again, realizing that they aren't there with you. Over the past 8 years, it's happened more often than not. Now, I have found some individuals who are not there. And again, I'm hoping that this channel introduces me to some more. I love those folks. I like being driven. I like people that understand that this is lonely, that are willing to take degrees of risk. But at a certain point, that settled feeling, that idea in your gut that this will just be what it is, that the pursuit of something greater for myself means that sometimes I will be here, that other people can't extend the same degree of risk. They're not able to, they're not willing to, or they don't understand or see the same cost benefit that I do. I'm running, terrified of that 8 to 5, frightened of debt and obligation. I've tasted something better, pursuing something more, fighting for everything I am to be free and independent, to live and be happy, to invest in what brings me joy and build something that allows me to establish a future for myself, my family, and my friends or my community. Maybe we're just all doing it in our own communities. I'm not sure. Tomorrow we're going to be watching a video. You'll find a link in the top of this video description. It is going to be one of the very first videos that inspired me to start YouTube. It is a frank, an invocation to beginnings, one that I have modeled a series of videos after for many, many years. We're going to reflect on it, talk about the language used and why it struck a chord with me, and I'll be curious to hear your thoughts around that video as well. We're also starting a book club soon. Whenever my book finally arrives, it's going to be Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vee. I'm excited to dive into that. Make sure you pick up a copy or buy it on Kindle or something like that so that you can carry along, or just tune in. The book club is going to be focused more on the lessons being learned and the things I'm taking away. I'd love to have a conversation, but I'd like to design it in a way that gives value to those that are watching, that doesn't necessarily or intrinsically demand that you've read the book. So, with all that being said, I'm a little lonely, a little frustrated, a little claustrophobic. I'm ready to sell 80% of the things I have in this room and hit the road. excited about this, excited about you, and excited for the future.